Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before I get into this review, I want to preface by saying that if you enjoyed Ahsoka so far, that is great, and I wish I'd liked the first 2 episodes as much. But as you can tell by the thumbnail, I did not like these episodes. Which is a shame because Ahsoka was my most anticipated Star Wars show next to Kenobi. Spoilers for Ahsoka if you haven't watched it yet. Episode 1 starts off with a unique red crawl that we've never seen before. It's talking about how there's rumors circulating that Thrawn is alive, and that Ahsoka is searching for a map that is vital to the enemy. Now this first scene was questionable, and I thought it was absolutely silly, which gave me the first red flag that this premiere episode wasn't going to be any good. The opening scene shows a New Republic ship detecting a mysterious ship that requests to board, which is obviously Baylan and Shin Hati. They use some old Jedi clearance code. The captain of the ship believes it's a bluff, yet he still allows them to board the ship, knowing they are transporting an important prisoner, which is Morgan Elsbeth. I have a problem with this scene because why would the captain willingly allow strangers to board a ship knowing it's a bluff? This is a massive security risk. Even if he believed the reinforcements could take them on, why even take that risk? It's dumb. When they do board the ship, the Dark Jedi kill the captain and the soldiers with him. They then break Morgan out as predicted. This whole scene just felt silly and quite honestly really dumb. The best part of this episode was the following scenes with Ahsoka unlocking a structure in a mysterious temple, which we later find out was built by Night Sisters, ancestors of Morgan Elsbeth, which I found to be interesting because, to our knowledge, the Night Sisters were all confined to Dathomir, and they haven't really ventured out to other worlds, which isn't the case anymore. This felt like something out of Fallen Order with the weird symbols and puzzles on the walls and ground, which I found pretty cool. It looked similar to the World Between Worlds. Ahsoka engages with some HK droids, which I found to be okay. The whole fight sequence wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. Ahsoka meets Hera later on, and I don't really know how to explain it, but Hera and Ahsoka in this episode just felt really bland. The episode as a whole felt very boring. Hera just didn't feel like Hera at all. She looked great, the body paint and makeup work looks just like animated Hera, but something was really off. I don't know if it was the acting, camera work, directing or whatever, but this just seemed like another episode of Kenobi, which I really disliked. Rosario and Mary Winstead are actually really good actresses, so I know this isn't really on them. It's like if you take Hera and Sabine from Rebels and then you compare them to their live action counterparts, they feel like 2 completely different people. And I understand, you're comparing animated characters versus live action characters, but they should retain their personalities. And I don't feel like Hera and Sabine in live action really keep that flair and personality of their animated counterparts. And I don't think it's the translation to live action from animation because, for an example, in the Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane still felt like Cad Bane. Like if you put him next to his animated counterpart, they both feel and act like the same character, but Sabine and Hera are missing that spark, and I don't know what it is. We find out as the episode progresses that Sabine was Ahsoka's Padawan at some point after Return of the Jedi. I really don't like this, especially with the teases of Sabine being Force sensitive because it's not earned. It's forced and out of nowhere. Ahsoka is a continuation of Rebels. Ahsoka and Sabine rarely even interacted in Rebels, and there was never a sign that she was Force sensitive or capable of being trained in it, except that one episode with Kanan where he was training her to use the Darksaber, but it was very minimal, subtle, and they never expanded upon that in the rest of the series, so I'm not really vibing with this. In the original trilogy, it wasn't too far-fetched to believe Leia could be a Jedi because we saw signs of her Force sensitivity in Empire Strikes Back when she heard and felt where Luke was on Cloud City, and later in Return of the Jedi when she spoke with him on Endor, and after the Battle of Endor when she sensed he was alright after the Death Star exploded. Sabine already has so much going for her as a character from what we've seen on Rebels already. She's a Mandalorian and a rebel fighter. She doesn't need to be a Jedi, Force sensitive or not. It just doesn't work. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to be disingenuous, these are Dave Filoni's characters that he created, and he's allowed to do what he thinks is best for them, which I respect. I like Sabine as a character a lot. I'm just not a fan of her being Ahsoka's student within the context of training to become a Jedi and what we've seen on Rebels already. I think if Ahsoka were to teach a student, it should be an original character we haven't seen. Someone like maybe Shin Hati, if, the context were to fit. I think that would be so much better. But then again, the show isn't done yet, so I'm going to wait until the series is over before really judging it on a wider scale. But in regards to Sabine, Sabine is fine with just being Sabine, the Mandalorian. Now, if Sabine had more interactions with Ahsoka on Rebels, and it was heavily teased that she was Force sensitive throughout its 4 seasons, then I don't think this would be a major issue. So far, I think the most interesting character is Baylan Skoll. Rey's acting in these first 2 episodes is really good, and I think the mystery of his character is what adds to the intrigue and makes him stand out the most compared to everyone else. We know he's a former Jedi who survived Order 66, and I'm looking forward to learning more about him. I like the presence he commands on screen. By the end of the episode, Sabine duels against Shin in what was an underwhelming fight. I wasn't expecting an Anakin versus Obi-Wan type duel, but the fight choreography in this sequence felt very cheap and lame. It didn't have the intensity and impact that a lightsaber duel should have. Sabine loses and is stabbed, which upsets some people because by the next episode she's like fully recovered after waking up. At first I thought this was lazy writing, but given the context of the situation, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, right after she's stabbed, Ahsoka arrived immediately so she can get medical attention, unlike Qui-Gon who had nowhere to go and was alone with Obi-Wan. Episode 1 had some cool mentions of Anakin when Ahsoka was talking to Hera about leaving him and the Order, which I thought was pretty neat. There was that Ezra scene where Sabine was playing a holo recording, which was, a sweet moment. I hope Ezra shows up in person later on because this whole show is what I assume focused on looking for him in Thrawn. And since Rebels is a continuation of Ahsoka, I think it would be very appropriate to present Ezra very early because, he was the main character on Rebels and this Ahsoka show is a continuation of that. So I really hope they honor that in a satisfying way. The best thing about these 2 episodes is the whole plot point with the map and how it's a passageway to a whole new galaxy, which I really love. I've always wanted Star Wars to introduce completely new galaxies with all new factions, species, worlds, and everything else. It opens up so many possibilities for future content set outside of the core galaxy, and it's not limited by any time period. I found episode 2 to be the same as episode 1, it just didn't really have that flair to hook me. There were some cool moments like the factory on Corellia secretly being occupied by Imperial loyalists working within the New Republic. That was pretty cool. There was that duel between Ahsoka and Merrick, which again, I just found to be boring and weak. My favorite highlight of the episode was Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. I think these 2 will be the series highlight when it's over. Their acting is great. You can see and feel their distinct personalities. Not once do they feel boring or bland, unlike Ahsoka, Hera, and Sabine in the show, which again is just unfortunate. I guess ever since I watched Andor, it set some unrealistic expectations for what I want out of a Disney Plus Star Wars show. Overall, I found these first 2 episodes to be very soulless, which is unfortunate because I really was hoping this show would meet my expectations. I know it's only been 2 episodes, but it's likely a sign of what the quality of the rest of the episodes will be like. That's really all I have to say for Ahsoka's premiere episodes. Make sure to subscribe if you want to hear my review on the rest of the Ahsoka show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.